right, so Blessing, you've done a lot of good stuff. You've really empowered a lot of women. Well done for that. But of course, we are here today because so many issues. You seem to be one woman who has entangled herself in prophets, pastors' words, and you've become known by many when you dragged one of the very prominent and popular men of God in Zimbabwe to court, IMMANUEL Makhandiwa. I mean, what exactly happened? How did this whole saga between the two of you start?
You know what? I'll be very honest with you. If there is one thing that I regret in my life, if there's anything that has given me sleepless nights and that has broken me, it was joining UFIC ministries. It will forever be my biggest error in life. I went to UFIC not because I was looking for any miracle or anything, but you know, I grew up with a mom who was always encouraging me to connect with God. I had always been in Celebration Church. So, you know, there was a time where there came that whole wave about prophets, you know, prophets. They talk to God, they are doing miracles. And as a child of God, I felt like I wanted to be at a higher spiritual level in my life. And I actually discussed this with my pastor in Celebration Church and said, I'm thinking of going to UFIC so that I can hear about this man, so that I can see for myself about this man, the miracles that he's making and all that he's doing. And you know, Celebration Church, it's a very civilized church. It's a church that is full of love. They didn't have a problem. They actually prayed for me and said, it's fine, go and try and see. And I remember very well, it was the 4th of January, 2011. If I could turn back the hands of time, one thing that I would ask God is to have never walked into UFIC ministries. It destroyed my life. It destroyed my soul. It destroyed my spirit. And how we started with Prophet Makhandiwa is there's a time when I started feeling like this was not the place for me. We were having these conversations with my husband, my ex-husband, and we agreed. One thing that I didn't like was to pray to the God of Prophet IMMANUEL Makhandiwa. Not because I was rebellious, but I said to my ex-husband, the God of Jacob, I know. The God of Abraham, I know. I can pray to the God of Abraham, but the God of IMMANUEL Makhandiwa, I do not know, because so much is happening in the world. And that was the other thing that I didn't like about UFIC.
Did he ever force anyone to pray to the God of Makhandiwa or God of Emmanuel?
You know, there is something about being in a manipulative church. A manipulator is not going to show you directly that they are manipulating you. It might be testimonies that, oh, when I started calling the God of Prophet Makhandiwa, my child was sick. Then my child started walking, rose up the bed. You know how these people always do these things in a way where you end up feeling like, you know what, you have to pray to the God of Prophet Makhandiwa. So, yeah, that was one thing that I didn't like about that church. But what actually brought the fight was when I left UFIC ministries. There is an article that IMMANUEL Makhandiwa wrote. This article was the importance of a good name. I think I did send it to you.
But the problem, before we even talk about that article, why did he get, you say that you felt the article was directed at you and to attack your business, but why do you think he did that? Because you say that you were doing chickens and it was talking about cosmetics. So why do you think, what went wrong between you and Emmanuel Makhandiwa for him to write that article?
So the last day I went to UFI Ministries, we had agreed with my husband that we are actually going to church today to just say goodbye to the ministry. We don't belong here.
What had you found out? What did you realize that you need to leave UFIC?
What did I realize? Having grown up in a church where, you know, the basis of being in a church at the end of the day is about converting people to Christ. That was number one. I remember asking Prophet Makhandiwa, why is it in UFIC ministries we never do the sinner's prayer? Because if people are coming, converting themselves, coming to Christ, we have to be a church that is focused on winning souls. We have to be a church that is actually able to make people do the sinner's prayer so that they can start their walk with Christ. We can't be a church that can have 3 hours of people being saved. Those with $2,000 come to the stage and people are sitting, music is playing. Those with 1,000, those with $50, those with 20. But we fail to get even just 10 minutes to say those who want to give their life to Christ, stand up, we do the sinner's prayer. There was something so wrong about that. I asked him, I didn't get a proper answer about it. So I started feeling like, okay, so what is the point? This is like a show. What is the point of being in church if we are not converting people to Christ? That was the other reason.
Listen, can I ask you something before we continue with Makhandiwa? Why did you leave Utaunashe's church?
Okay, when I left Utaunashe's church, it was by marriage. And up to now, I mean, family of God, one thing I'll tell you about family of God is we are a family. Up to now, the people you see in my life, if there's anything that Andrew Utaunashe and Dr. RF managed to do, was to build strong relationships or families. The people I call my sisters, the people I call my brothers, you'll find these are people I grew up with in family of God. So I actually left family of God because I was getting married to someone who was in Celebration Ministries.
Okay, so then now you moved to Emmanuel Makhandiwa's church. You found out, I don't know how long you were there before you found out that Makhandiwa wants people to pray to his own God, not God of Abraham. And also you found out that he doesn't do the sinner's prayer. And for how long were you there before you found out that, okay, this is not the church for me? And I still want you to explain to me if Makhandiwa has ever preached on the pulpit that everybody should pray to the God of Makhandiwa, or it is just something that everybody just starts doing and people start following.
Okay, so this will surprise you, but for me, I'll speak for myself. There was a stronghold in UFI Ministries. I felt 2 years in UFI, I knew it was not a place for me. But I don't know, you know, there's something about these churches that I can't explain. I think other people who are there and who are in these prophetic churches, they can understand what I mean. You know,
we are here with you, and as you are here, you're someone who has helped a lot of women business-wise. There are also a lot of women that wouldn't want to fall in the same trap. So we are here today. Try and explain what you noticed. And did you feel, and like, I really want to understand about this God of Makhandiwa. Did you feel that there is another God that you guys are being forced to pray to, or what exactly was going on?
Honestly, Josie, there is only one true Bible, one book, the Holy Bible. And this is the book that must guide us. It is my belief, and I would want people to understand that what I believe and what other people believe, it doesn't have to be the same. But for me to come and pray to the God of Josie, I don't know who that God is. You may explain him to me, but when you're in your home, when you're away from people, I don't know what you're doing. So I don't want to commit to this God that I do not know. I think I was happier to commit to the God that I know. It's something that is in the Bible, not the God of Prophet Makhandiwa. I wasn't comfortable with that. The other reason that I didn't like about UFIC ministries was people say that Makhandiwa is a good teacher. He's a good preacher. I don't deny that. But that's why they say, do you hear and perceive? Do you hear? Do you perceive? Do you see? Do you understand? Because it's one thing to get caught up in the moment and say, oh, this man can preach. But are you going deeper into the messages that he is preaching? I felt like most of Makhandiwa's messages, they ended up being about a prophet. If you believe in a prophet, your things will be, you will be well. If you do this to a prophet, your doors will open. It was all about a prophet. And my background, where I'm coming from Pastor Tom. Pastor Tom is a man who would teach you about connecting with your God. When you connect with God, your things are going to work out. When you have a personal relationship with God, your things are going to work out. But in UFIC, it was more about when you do this to the prophet, when you do that for the prophet, when you bless the prophet.
So, Blessing, for 2 years, you were seeing this, you were there, and you every Sunday you would take your shower, take your bath, and still go to the same church for 2 years.
I was actually in UFIC for 5 years.
Okay, now it even gets worse. For 5 years, you were there 5 years.
Yes.
And you know that this guy is asking me to pray to his God. The guy is not of God. You even parted with a lot of money, $1 million, like I see on the documents that I have here. Why?
You know what, Josie? You will never understand.
I'm here to understand. I think many people are watching us today also want to understand.
I have people, Josie, who have come to me and said, I gave my car at the pulpit. In the moment of, if you want your breakthrough, bring whatever you have, sow everything you have. You know, if you've never been in a prophetic church, it's a message that you'll never understand. I was there. You would just end up giving him your money. You don't even know how you ended up. For me, it was not for show off, because remember, this money was not being announced in church. My tithes were actually being collected from home or from my office.
By who? By who?
I wouldn't want to mention names. We are talking about Prophet Makhandiwa. There are people there I prefer to protect because of my personal relationship with them.
And you're so sure the money was getting to Emmanuel Makhandiwa?
Yes, they would actually give me receipts. It was getting to him because it was his brother who would always come to it.
But Blessing, what was so special about you, unless that's what happens at UFIC, that people have to drive to your office, to your home, to collect offerings, to collect tithe? Is this the norm at UFIC, or it was just something that you actually told them that I can be doing this, just for us to understand?
You will never understand, Josie, but other people who have left UFI will tell you, you will take everything you have to church, and you ask yourself, when you have taken everything, why did I take everything? There were actually times I was left with no money, and I would have taken it all to church. And up to now, I've got no answers how that would happen. And I hear, I remember another person telling me that I met a guy in town who was telling me about fish and Mozambique, how they wanted to go and sell this fish. The scams that happens in town. And they actually gave this guy money, believing that he was going to go and sell the fish and bring part of the money. I don't know, with the UFI, people can condemn me, but I have to own my story. I have to
Yeah,
say,
nobody's condemning you, but then we can only, yes, you can own your story, but we are here to really understand. Because, I mean, Blessing, there is a report that you actually went to UFIC and you had defaulted, you had a debt of about $500,000 for a mortgage. You went to UFIC because you wanted miracles or prayers, I don't know. And so Prophet Makhandiwa, there was one Sunday or one service that he said that if this is a Sunday to settle debts or something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe you can actually assist me with that. And you came up because I think you and your husband had a debt of about $500,000, and you saw a seed. So my question is, you have a debt of about 500,000 towards your house, and then you still go to a prophet to sow a seed just for the debt to disappear, or what exactly happened?
okay, so our debt was with ZB Bank. It was for 185,000.
Okay.
What I do not understand, Josie, up to now is we could have paid that debt because we had the money, but we were taking it all to church, and we actually lost that property. If you are to ask me how that happened, I have got so many questions. I think when I get to heaven, I've got so many questions that I'm going to ask God, because I mean, a debt of 185, it was not a lot of money, but we were taking it all to church instead of paying off our debts. How? Why? I don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you another incident. My father is blind, and he wanted a miracle. He took $100,000 to IMMANUEL Makhandiwa. I was so hurt because I had already moved out of the church, and I actually confronted my Makhandiwa, and I said, if you can actually take $100,000 from a blind man, there is something wrong with all that. Despite that, there's a miracle that he's believing for. You being people who are saying you are called by God, why are you not just doing this miracle for him without having to take 100,000 from a blind man? And I'm telling you, there are so many people who parted with their money in EFI and they don't know how and why. For me, it's my story. I don't know how, I don't know why, but that's I lost everything in UFI Ministries.
Okay, so there is a comment here from Rutendo Faith Jenkins. It says in the court document from the High Court, it says you never had an account with ZB Bank.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I actually, yes, when we started Ocean, our bank was actually ZB Bank. That was our bank. That's the bank that we were owing.
So why is it that the court did not pick that up, or why is it that she's saying that the High Court said you never had a ZB account?
Okay, so this is social media. You must understand that in the comment sections, there are also Makhandiwa's children who will be throwing offsides or trying to divert. I've gone through all that, where there is a issue that we are talking about, and they will come and say, no, there was nothing like that. But yes, ZB Bank was actually my bank when I started. That was my only bank when we started our business.
Okay, so you left UFIC after or before you took Makhandiwa to court?
So what happened is when Makhandiwa wrote his article after we left church, the importance of a good name, I think I did send it to you, the article. Let me give me a minute.
No, I have it. Don't worry. Yeah, yeah.
But if you have it and you are not going to be able to put it out there for people to understand, then do you understand that we are actually going to have a half-baked story? Because this article, it said When your name is tarnished, you lose customers just because of a name that is not good. You need just one paper to write badly about you and say that you are selling rotten chickens, and that is the end of your career. You just need one person who can move around telling people that your perfumes can cause cancer. And once that news begins to spread, your company will begin to go down. I mean, Josie, I just left your church. There are people doing timber. There are people doing tiles. There are people doing clothes. There are people doing groceries. But when Emmanuel Makhandiwa decided to write an article, he had to choose the two businesses that I was doing, chickens and perfumes. People might say you're overreacting, but you have to see an attack when it's coming. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to see an attack. A lot of people actually texted me that day, and they were like, be very careful. It is very weird that he would write an article about the importance of a good name, and he actually has got the nerve to say it only takes one person to say your perfumes can cause cancer. And you are into perfumes, blessings, and you're into chickens. What is he on about? You get what I mean?
Yes.
That's when you notice that, okay, something is wrong. But I don't like overreacting. I said it's okay. I remember even my brother telling me, you know what? Stay woke. The streets ain't safe. Just stay woke. This is just the beginning of an attack from Makhandiwa. Another one is coming, but don't respond. You know, when people tell you, you know, with these people, don't respond. That's the attitude I took towards that article. So many people told me there is something wrong with this article. Why is he talking of perfumes? Why is he talking of chickens? That is what you do with your life. But anyway, it's fine. We let that one go. Then in February, that was in August, we left to UFI in July. So you can imagine in July, a month later, he's writing an article attacking perfumes and chickens. It's okay. We'll leave it to God. Then in February, I woke up with my inbox full. There's this page called The Truth About Prophet Emmanuel Makhandiwa. They had written an article about me and my husband. The mistake that they made, you know what I've noticed with Church Mafia? Church Mafia, they create a good page, which is official. Like this page is for Prophet Emmanuel Makhandiwa, but they will have other pages. It's their pages. I'm not trying to run him down, but I'm just telling the truth of what I've seen in these churches. There will be another page. That page will be the one that will be trashing people, that will be exposing people, doing everything that you can never expect from a man of God. There was a situation that I had with my husband, and that situation in UFIC, I never had any other pastor who I could go to for counseling. No matter what would happen between me and my husband, even without an appointment, I would drive to Prophet Makhandiwa's house. I wasn't going to allow any other person to counsel me. So we had a situation which we went to Prophet Makhandiwa's house. And I told Prophet, this is the situation that we have with my husband. So you can imagine in February, they wrote an article about the 5 evil people that had left UFI and the reasons why they left. And they wrote about something I knew that it was only between Mr. and Mrs. Makhandiwa and my husband. Do you get what I mean? You can't tell me someone is running this page.
So you confided in Mama and Papa or your husband, and then the next thing is whatever secrets you confided in them were revealed to the public.
If you go and read that article, Josie, I woke up with so many people saying, can you go to this page, The Truth About Prophet Makhandiwa? Can you go to this page and see? I was shocked. And we sat with my husband. I remember I called Pastor Tawanda, Pastor T. Josie, I was crying. Josie, I was emotional because I said to Pastor T, these things are things that I shared with Prophet Makhandiwa and Mama as my spiritual leaders. For you to go to a page and write all these things, my dirty laundry, and you try to exonerate yourself, and yet you know I only shared this with Prophet and Mama. It's wrong. I cried to Pastor T. I was very hurt. I was very emotional. I took time. Pastor T comforted me. Pastor T said, Mama, calm down. Think about it. We will talk later. And you know what I did after that?
Mhm.
I said it's either I attack or I decide to make peace. I wrote a letter to Prophet and Prophetess Makhandiwa. And in that letter, I actually begged them and I said, as high as God is, God says, come, let us reason together. So if there's anything that you feel that I've wronged you, I am asking you for a chance, for time to talk to you so that we may not, I saved you for 5 years. I was loyal to you. And what is the direction that this is going? I could tell it was not going to stop. Come, let us reason together. Do you know what they did when I wrote them that letter? The good thing is my letter is not a letter that I took myself. I actually gave it to my advocate, Advocate Arthur Marara. And I said, Advocate, can you please deliver this letter to Mr. and Mrs. Makhandiwa for me? And all those contents have been written by Sunday Mail. It was a polite letter asking them, can we talk about it? Instead of coming to me saying, you were once a daughter of this family, come, let's talk. They actually made an appointment with Mutamangira and Associates, and they brought their lawyers, Manasseh, and said, you know what, their letter was actually signed by Pastor Wenga as the FD of the company of UFIC Ministries. I was so shocked by what they wrote. They said, if you think that you were that powerful in UFIC, please just compile all your receipts. We'll reimburse you all your money. I was like, oh, I thought this was actually a letter where I was pleading to say, can we come and talk about this? You used to be my father. You used to be my mother. Some issues we can solve without being dramatic, but they actually said, bring the receipts. Me being a businesswoman, you'll be shocked from the first day that I gave money to UFI, I had all the receipts. Mutamangira and Associates will confirm for you that by the time they finished calculating all the receipts, there were some missing, but there were receipts of 798,000 US dollars. They were there. And Mutamangira then wrote to Manasseh and said, you brought this letter and said, if she has got receipts, we'll rather give you back your money. These are her receipts, 798,000. She gave more than $1 million. Some of the receipts are missing, but here are receipts of 798. That's when all the drama started. That's when all the drama started.
Okay. So a lot of people are asking where the articles are. I have pasted in the comment section. If you check in the comment section, I've pasted all the articles that Blessing is actually referring to. In case you want to read those articles, everything I've posted it in the comment section. But then, Blessing, before I ask you about what your image is now, after, like what lessons did you learn after leaving UFIC, and do you have any advice for other women who are still there, or I don't know if you have anything, or what is your image about Makhandiwa since leaving the UFIC? But before I'll ask you that, I mean, these receipts you're talking about, I think I got to about 800 something thousand. The other receipts you couldn't find them, right? Not
yes,
to judge you,
I gave more than $1 million,
but not to
if you're
judge you. Blessing, not to judge you. I am not here to judge you. I'm not God. I'm not. This is just a platform for us to discuss women to women.
yes.
Was it for business? Was it an investment? Was it, did he promise you something, or your husband? Because at least you say that your father paid 100,000. He's a blind man for a miracle. Till today, I think your father is still blind.
He is very blind. Josie, you will never understand. If there is anyone that can preach in a convincing way, it's Emmanuel Makhandiwa. Emmanuel Makhandiwa will stand and say, gore rino iri, iro rino iri, rega uone mwana wa mai, zvinhu zvako zvese zvichanaka. People will be flocking to the altar to seed. People will go and seed cars. People will go and seed title deeds. People will go and seed school fees. Then 2 weeks later, a month later, 3 months later, you start realizing like, oh no, that was actually motivational speaking. There is nothing that is changing. It was just motivational speaking. That's how I felt in my own way. He is a very convincing man who will convince you to give and reasons why you should give. And he can start by telling you, some of you, you are here, you are saying you don't want to sacrifice, but Abraham was willing to sacrifice Isaac. And you are still thinking of keeping your car. You are still thinking of keeping your car, your house. You know, you don't understand when you're dealing with a manipulator. These are people who are very good at manipulating. And he did that to me. It was, I just, all I know is I lost everything in UFIC ministries.
Okay. Blessing, do you remember how much you paid at Family of God?
At Family of God, I gave a lot of money in Celebration Church. My pastor would tell you, Pastor Jeff, I gave a lot of money. But you know what? You know what I loved about Pastor Jeff? Pastor Jeff, you could actually take 20,000. Pastor Jeff will sit with you and say, my child, he's a businessman. You understand? You have brought 20,000. I know we said we want to build our church here. How much profit did you make this month? I did this, I did this. You will actually correct you and say, no, okay, so we'll take 10,000. You can keep the 10,000. That is a heart of a father who is saying, I'm not only here to take from you. Before you give me this money, I want to understand what you're doing in business. If you're to ask Celebration Church, you will see that Pastor Jeff Mzwimbi, he had more of business people in his church because he was that father who could actually visit your business, look at it and tell you, no, I think you're making a mistake here. So there are times where you are moved by saying, I want to do something in the house of the Lord. And he will come and correct you like, no, my child, I know you want to do that. But you see, this is how your finances should look like. This is how you should do this. So we'll take 10,000, the 10,000, put it back in business. But with Makhandiwa will stand on the pulpit and tell you, if you're still saving 10%.
No. I'm asking. Yes, but you left Family of God, you went to Makhandiwa. You also went to PhD. What happened at Magaya's church?
No, I never went to PhD. Magaya was my ex-husband's friend. I never went to PhD.
All right, I'm going to ask based on the last live that you did on your Facebook page. You said that Magaya actually knelt before you. What was that all about?
Okay, so with Magaya, what happened is between their friendship with my ex-husband, there was an issue of a car. They blessed each other with a Discovery 4.
Who blessed who?
Mr. Mashangwa blessed Prophet Magaya with a Discovery 4. Then something did happen. And you know, prophets, the other thing that you must understand about prophets is they are willing to, they will go to any length to protect their names. So it became very rough and a lot of things happened.
But it looks like,
I remember about Prophet Magaya is, I still remember that day very well when he realized, you know what, I'm fighting people I shouldn't be fighting. But I was also stubborn. He sent Gamu Gwasira, the wife to Musa, to say, can you go and talk to Blessing and say, come, let's talk about this. I know you did this out of a good heart, but I was also angry at the time. I was not willing to talk. I decided to do the legal route. things turned out nasty. But at the end of it all, as much as Magaya is this guy who is just Magaya, I was just humbled by the way he then came to me and said, you know what, Blessing,
No,
when
but Blessing, before getting to where he came to kneel and whatever, why is it that you and your husband would just bless pastors? Why not? I mean, there are many suffering people. Why pastors? I just want to understand. For your husband to just go and dash a car to Magaya, why?
I think, you know what, if you feel like you are blessed and you feel like God is trying to use someone, you always want to be part of that. You always want to be part of that movement. And I remember what actually prompted my husband to buy that car is Prophet Magaya was driving a Murano. Then that Murano, he had an accident with it. Then we took it to my father's garage to actually fix it. Then my husband was just like, but you know what? Why not just buy him a new car and surprise him with a new car? So we actually did that, just, you know, just to bless him. Remember, we have blessed families. If you look at my video, you have seen buildings where I was actually monitoring buildings being built. It's these people that I would actually feel like this person is homeless. I've taken children to school. I've given away food to people. I've also played my role in my community where I felt like people were in need. So giving in church was just continuing with what I believed. That
But did
is,
you expect something in return?
no, from Prophet Magaya, honestly.
No, generally in churches, since you are comparing how you give to charities and all that, that's what you do in church. Were you or are you expecting anything in return from the tithes, the offerings that you give in church?
No, I think in Family of God, I wasn't expecting anything. In celebration, I wasn't expecting anything. And do you know why people in other churches, they take money and not expecting anything? It's because nothing is promised. Do you get what I mean?
Mm.
Pastor Tom will just preach there and preach the word. If you feel moved by the word, you are just gonna give on your own. But with prophetic churches, unfortunately, it comes with promises. If you do this, God will do this for you. If you sacrifice, God will do this for you. So people will really bleed, sacrificing so that they may benefit something, because no one wants to miss an opportunity of a blessing. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Then you realize after giving everything
So
that no.
when Papa is on the pulpit and saying that if you give now, next week you are going to buy a Lamborghini, that's when people stand up and start.
Yes, you see, so
Yes.
it's an issue that with prophetic churches, it's promises. Your giving is attached to a promise, as compared to my work with Pastor Jeff and Pastor Clara, my work with Pastor Tom and Pastor Bonnie. It was just the word. Those who feel compelled to give, just come and give. It's not like you're going to find gold. You know, Makhandiwa will tell you you can find gold, Mufu. I mean, you know what he's done? Three-day babies. These are the miracles where you're like, wow.
But is
So
it
if
not? But is it not also the same thing that your former boyfriend would say? Jay
uh,
Israel. They're all pastors. They're all pastors. Blessing.
okay,
You left Family of God. Anyway, before we get to Jay Israel,
yes.
your family is still going to UFIC, right?
Okay, so I think the way we can progress is if we deal with one story at a time.
No,
Because
no,
if
no,
you
no,
want
no.
to,
With questioning, like I said, I just touched on
mhm,
that, but we're not on Jay Israel yet. I'm still on
yes,
UFIC. Why is your
yes.
family still going to UFIC? Despite everything that has happened between you and Makhandiwa, are you saying that now they actually believe Prophet Makhandiwa than you, their own family member?
You know what? All I can say is my father loves me so much. What I can tell you is my mother is a woman of prayer. There is a reason why they are there. I'm not here to talk about my family, but what I can tell you is my father loves me so much. He loves me so much. My mother is a woman of prayer. There's a reason. I can't say much, but let's end it there. But yes, they are still in UFI.
There are also allegations that you poisoned your mother. What do you have to say about that? Is that true?
Okay, so what I've noticed with my posts is when I do a post, you always get Makhandiwa's children. Remember, these are people with time and many fake accounts who can actually come and just write anything, because remember, their idea is to discredit you. Like, I'll give you an example that after leaving UFI, Makhandiwa wrote an article. I didn't respond to that. I asked him to talk. He said, bring receipts. He realized there were receipts. Now, after realizing the receipts are actually there, 798, and Mutamangira and Sam Kange and Tabani Mpofu are now saying, here are the receipts you requested for. Can we have the money? You will not believe what they did. And I would actually want you to play that video. They would do anything to discredit your character. There is a guy called Munyaradzi Rukato. He is in the protocol of IMMANUEL Makhandiwa. He came to our house and said to my husband, I am asking you to keep this young man for us for a short while. And if you were to add my husband to this live chat, I have times that I dream. I'm not a dreamer, but I have times that I dream. I actually woke up and I told him, you know what? Someone is going to come and ask you for a favor. But in my dream, it was like, you must record. So when Rukato came with this boy, my husband said, I am going to record this, Mukoma. Do you have a problem with it? He said, no, I don't have a problem with it. He recorded. They left this boy. Then Rukato asked my husband to go for Sadza, you know, whether it was Kugarwe, I don't remember. But I remember before my husband left the house, I said, that video you recorded, can you send it to my phone? Can you send it to my daughter's phone? Can you believe that when they went out to Garwe, he mysteriously lost his phone? 3 months later, after taking care of this guy, police people busted us at our house. We were arrested for kidnapping. And we were like, how? This young man was brought to us. We didn't kidnap him. We were taken to serious fraud. We were actually handcuffed and we were told minimum 5 years. Until my lawyer came with the recording and said, no, here's the recording they took the day Rukato brought this guy. This is the record of Rukato.
I'm going to play the video now, but I just want you to answer me. Did you poison your mom? Yes or no?
No, I did not poison. That's what I was getting to. Just play that, then you'll understand.
All right. Zitandia. All right, good. Chichiripo. On what basis? Ugatsanya dzako. Chendodoziva kuti pana kutora here kuti uye kuno pana kufosa kana kuti chii? Watsvagani? Nani? Kom, ndiro record. Kuda, I'm recording for any future issues. Right. Wauya kwandiri uchikumbira handiti wauya naMr. Rukato. Koma ndakuisa pavideo.
Right, inini kuda uya muofisi kwangu achikumbira kuti ndikumbira kuti ndifana kugara because vanhu vanoita sei vari kunditsvaga. Saka vanhu vamuti no problem vandisai kutaura namukoma Mashangwa because kumba kwangu inini kuplaza kure hakuna mautilities hamuna wifi nechi. Saka mukumbirawo mukoma Mashangwa kuti vatichengetere mupanda for the time being since tine issue yedu kumachi kumapurisa.
Okay.
Saka ndamboita kuti vanofanira kumuchengeta kuitira kuti ndamboita kuti vanofanira kumuchengeta kuitira kuti pakaitika anything tinokwanisa kuzoti aende pari safe for now. Since nyaya yedu takaenda kumapurisa takataurirana. Saka angouya kuzondikumbira kuofisi kwangu saka
Okay, so this video, you said that's the other guy sitting there, the big guy is Makhandiwa's security guard or security guy.
Yeah, one of the security guys.
You brought that guy to your husband after you had a dream, actually the previous night or some nights before, that there's someone that's going to come and ask for a favor.
Yes.
But when this person comes, we need to actually record everything they're going to ask for. So this small boy came with Makhandiwa's security guy, who's actually there in that video as well.
Yes.
Asking to be at your place to stay with you and your husband for a while. He said asylum, or he said some people are looking for him. But then when he came to your house, you gave him, after recording, your husband went for lunch with this security guy, then his phone mysteriously disappeared.
Yes.
But before the phone disappeared, luckily you had asked your husband to forward the video to you and to somebody else. I don't know.
To my daughter. Yes.
To your daughter.
I will tell you something. The day we were arrested, when we were at Serious Fraud and they were telling us how we were going to go to jail for 5 years, they'd been looking for this boy for 3 months. When my lawyer actually came with that footage, one of the police guys actually asked, where did you get it from? And I asked, was it ever missing? So I was so shocked that, okay, I have given you receipts. You have stood on pulpit, IMMANUEL Makhandiwa, and you said, if anyone feel cheated, as long as you have got your receipt, you can come and I can give you back your money. But now that you see that Honorable Sam Kange has produced the receipts to 798,000, you are now thinking of other ways of discrediting me or silencing me to the point that you are willing to trap me with a kidnapping. I was going to go. If I didn't have that video, Josie, what were my chances of explaining that no, Rukato, Makhandiwa's guy brought this guy?
So UFIC people watching us right now actually know the security guy in the video.
They know that guy, Munyaradzi Rukato. He has been in newspapers with issues of fighting people, trying to protect Makhandiwa. And this is what UFIC has done to me. And I'm thinking, if IMMANUEL Makhandiwa just didn't want with the money, he could have just said, no, I don't want with the money, rather than putting my family through all the drama. And you know what they did? There is no online that didn't run that story. Ocean couple in kidnapping charges. I'm sure you get what I mean. When someone is on a mission to discredit you, why are you discrediting me? When I was in your church, I was loyal. I served you to the best of my ability. I did love you, and I served you well. I asked you, can you come? Can we talk? And instead of coming to talk, you came with a letter saying, give us receipts. The receipts are there. Now you are on to something else to try and discredit me. They have written so many stories about me. I have stopped caring. If they are saying I poisoned my mom, my mother right now, during Christmas, if I'm to show you messages, my mom will be asking me, bring my Vasukuru, can I please be with my grandchildren? My children were with my mother during the whole Christmas. Tell me, Josie, if I had poisoned my mom, would she be calling me, can you bring my grandchildren? The whole Christmas, I was here in South Africa by myself. My mother wanted to spend time with my grandchildren, with her grandchildren. After that, 2 days ago, I was laughing. My sister sending me a voice note. We've collected Zoe and Emmanuel. They are with me now. Do you really think that if I had done something like that, how do I poison my mother? My mother has got a chef. My mother has got 3 maids. I have never had an opportunity to be able to cook for my mother because there is a chef. If you are to ask my mother today, I have never had an opportunity to even take water to her. How can I possibly poison her? What opportunity to gain what? For what purpose?